What's up, Gator Nation? Zach Albaverdi and Nick Del Torre coming to you live from the Swamp following Florida's 39-36 overtime loss to the Hogs. An ugly game. There's nothing else that you can say about it. This is probably equivalent to the Vanderbilt loss last season.
That's worse.
What, the Vanderbilt loss last season?
Yeah, I know no one wanted to hear it, but when Billy said, hey, this team is better than 2-6, they were better than 2-6.
They were.
It doesn't.
Okay,
you shouldn't lose this game. I don't think it's this bad.
The stain on the season that Vanderbilt gave last year is what this game is going to give to this one. It's not the same stain. It's not as bad, but losing at home to a winless SEC team with a first-time play caller in your new black uniforms is just a recipe for disaster, and that's what today was.
Oh, Zach, when you put it like that, this might be the game that keeps you from bowl game. This is going to be the loss that'll send you home on November 26th or November 25th, at whatever time after the FSU game. This game probably makes you 5-7. You won't be favored in any of the next three games. Arkansas came in averaging the SEC worst 305 yards of offense per game.
They scored 3 points in their last game and fired their offensive coordinator.
They put up 481.
Scored on their first drive.
I can see they've done that 6 times. That was the 6th time they've done it this year. But I can see a real world scenario where LSU puts up 70 next week, 600 yards of offense. Arkansas just put up 481 in your house. LSU puts up 550 regularly. You're going to get them probably at home. We'll see what they do against Alabama today. But that Florida coming off of this loss is not going to be the CBS game of the week next week.
No.
So you're going to have a night game in Death Valley. Congrats to Zach. It'll be here first. But yeah, there's Florida just made crucial mistakes. Again, on special teams, I asked Billy Napier about it. He seemed perplexed to be asked.
Spread the blame.
Perplexed to be asked about special teams. He hit me with what are you what specifically, or what are you talking about? Which caught me off guard. I'm like, just this game or the entire season?
You want me to go through all of them?
How much time do we have here? So, yeah, just more miscues for Florida.
The illegal substitution penalty at the end of the game, trying to rush Trey onto the field, is just inexcusable. Did that contribute to him missing the kick? Maybe. Throwing him off of his game, throwing him off of his rhythm. Right? They tried to put him out there twice.
The inexcusable part is that it came after a timeout. Arkansas called a timeout. So you get your entire team together. Hey, here's our play. If it's successful, this is what we're doing. If it's not successful, it's a pass. So the ball's going to be, the clock's going to stop.
Yeah.
And then we'll be able to have a chance to do this again. But you just talked to your team. You literally just huddled up everyone, and you should come up with a plan. If we get the ball, get a first down, or don't get a first down, if the clock stops, cool, we've got time to figure things out. If the clock does not stop, this is what we're doing right after.
And again, I don't want to nitpick here, but what did Billy say in his post-game presser? He basically placed blame on one player who he says was a young player that thought that he heard that they were supposed to send out the field goal unit. He shouldn't be in charge of that decision.
Where's your coach? You have an analyst and a graduate student as your game-changing coaches, and there's been a shift in responsibilities there.
He basically put the blame on the player, and it's not that player's fault.
I basically asked Billy, what can you do? You're going into week 11 next week. There's not much you can do to fix that unit or help them this year. This season's a wash. Last year was a wash. So 2 years in a row, game changers have changed the game for the other team in a positive way. I asked him, when you look at it after the year, do you evaluate that and do you think you need to make a change? I don't expect him to answer that, but it's something the fans wanted to be asked. It was a valid question to be asked. I would hope that there would be changes made in the offseason. I don't expect there to be any changes made with 3 games left right now, though.
And they didn't just lose because of the few special teams plays that we could point out. They couldn't stop KJ Jefferson, especially running the ball late. Their offense had inconsistencies. But, those things on offense and defense are going to happen in the course of the game, especially in the SEC. Lining up with only 10 guys on your field goal unit twice Like those are things that, as Billy said in his answer, that we control. And he said that they are always being evaluated. He's not going to go out there and say we're making a change on special teams, but I think that he could have given an answer that would have maybe sat well better with the fans. But as he said today, when asked about his message to the fans who are impatient right now and frustrated, basically said that my job is not to provide messaging for the fans; it's to coach this team.
It's
I,
both.
I don't know if that's going to make anybody feel better about this. And look, I was
Well, here, real quick.
yeah.
Here's the thing. When you don't make your offensive coordinator available, when you don't make your defensive coordinator available, when you don't let freshmen speak, when you want to be the person that's sending the message and you're the only coach that can speak all season long, then yes, it is your job to talk to the fan base and to tell the fan base, hey, this is why I think you should be patient. I understand why you're frustrated. So when you make yourself, like Nick Saban does, the only person, the only voice, then yes, it is your job.
He also, you know, basically, look, I was a fan of the black jerseys. I know that fans are ready to burn them after today. I was a fan of them. I was a fan of the cause. I was a fan of the idea. But I do think that it was a little tone deaf from Billy to come out in his post game intro and say that basically that they still got a lot from this week and that like even though that's true, that is not the messaging that should be coming out of an overtime loss to Arkansas. Just save it, man. Like, I thought that was, to basically say that they won the week. I mean, they lost the game, and that's all people are going to care about. That doesn't mean that this tradition is no good, and I'm sure they're going to keep it up. But man, like that was, I thought a little bit better message could have done hit harder.
Yeah, I think that that message went like milk in the microwave to a fan base that just watched you lose. And I tried to talk about it a little bit this week. We mentioned on our podcast on Thursday, like
Man, you got
I-
talked into the pig. You should have
I
done
thought, oh, I thought Arkansas was better than their record, but like we don't know a lot about Arkansas. Florida doesn't play Arkansas a lot. It's not a familiar opponent.
First time play caller
You just see 2-6. Arkansas had never won on this field.
ever.
Never won. Can't say that anymore. It's not an inexcusable loss, but like it's the next door neighbor. It's certainly on the same street.
It's
Same
close
zip
to a
code.
Vanderbilt stain, man.
Like I feel like it's worse because Vandy's so bad, but like I'll be talked into being like, yeah, this is bad as Vanderbilt. It's just
Well, I'll tell you this: they lost at Vandy before. Never lost here at home to Arkansas, so that's something.
11-11 after 22 games now. Billy Napier's next loss, which in all likelihood is next week, will match his loss total in 23 games that he had at 4 years at Louisiana. So, I mean, I sat here and I told you guys after Tennessee, this is a proof of concept. I feel like we've just regressed after that. I look at the defense, and we told you guys that like Austin Armstrong's that dude. In my thoughts, I got to go crunch all the numbers, but in my thoughts, like Florida's defense has been atrocious against anyone of consequence this year. Anyone with a pulse. So I will take out McNeese because they don't have a pulse, and I'll take out Charlotte and just crunch the numbers against Power 5 teams, and it's ugly. It's ugly. Florida's defense is not getting the job done. I thought, hey, maybe they just had a couple bad games, couple off games. I think this is just who they are. And I don't know if it's Austin Armstrong or if it's just you don't have the dudes yet. Whatever it is, though, like I'm going to expect Florida's defense against LSU, who scores on everybody, against Missouri, who can throw the ball around the yard, and against Florida State, who
top 5 team. Although
top 5 team tied right now. Like I'm just going to expect Florida to give up 480 plus the rest of the year.
They got to find a win now to get bowl eligible. This was their perfect opportunity to punch their ticket to the postseason. They don't do it, and now they are staring at the potential of ending the season as underdogs in their final 3 games and a potential 5-game losing streak.
Yep.
After starting the season 5-2, that would be a disaster. I don't think that Billy's job is in jeopardy,
But 5-2 to 5-7, we're talking about it.
But I tell you what, though, it is going to be a long and tough off season if that is how the season ends. So they got to find a way to snap this skid, and whether that's on the road against Missouri, whether that's here at home against Florida State, or whether that's next week in Death Valley, they're going to have to get an upset now to rectify what has been a change of course on this season.
In Spanish, that is, en el nombre de Padre, de Cinco, and the Espíritu Santo, Amen. That sounds like a prayer, those last 3 games.
Well said.
Thank you. I have you.
Well, listen, I think we're done ranting and reacting to this. We got to go right. I know you guys are probably tired of hearing us. Hey, go to Gators Online. We'll break it all down. We'll let you know a little bit more in depth takeaways from this game and where the Gators go from here. We will see you guys next week to turn the page on this result and get you ready for Florida and LSU. For Nick Del Torre, I'm Zach Appleverdi.